I've always loved trains. I'm never happier than when I'm tinkering away with my own train set up here in the attic. Signals, stations, sidings, old carriages, new carriages. It is the greatest fun. I'm Peter Slow, and this has been my passion ever since my dad bought me my first toy train when I was just 4 years old. I enjoy mixing different carriages from different eras, making my own unique train. Which got me thinking, what if I could do this for real? Well, me and my partner in crime, engineering whiz kid Henry Coe, we thought we'd get onto a mad idea. In order to delve into the history of the railways, we're going to restore 4 iconic carriages.
We're getting together a band of brilliant restoration experts from all around the country. Each group will bring back to life a carriage from a different era, from an 1860s four-wheeler to a 1960s Pullman dining car. We'll even restore a royal carriage and a teak monster designed by the man who made the Flying Scotsman.
I'll keep across each restoration. This is terrifying.
And I'll explore what it was like for the passengers who travelled in them.
It's so luxurious, you know, it is fit for a queen, isn't it?
We've challenged all our restorers to complete their work in 6 months, when we'll put the carriages together to create a real-life time train, representing 100 years of railway history. Isn't that a really beautiful sight? And the icing on the cake? I'm going to fulfill a childhood dream. I'm going to learn how to drive a steam locomotive. Can we go much, much faster?
No, just a little bit.
Oh, wonderful. So I can take our unique train on her first incredible journey. This is the beautiful Llangollen Railway in North Wales. Once one of the remotest parts of the British Isles. But in the Victorian heyday, the arrival of the railways plugged it into the industrial world. Trains linked Welsh farmers' fields with the markets of London, and Welsh mines with the ports that would send its slate all around the world. Lots of people think the golden age of the railways was back in the 1930s, when huge companies pounded up and down the tracks. But for me, the golden age was earlier than that, back in the early 1900s, when almost forgotten companies like Llangollen Railway built glorious lines like this in North Wales. It was an engineering triumph, its tunnels boring through whole mountain ranges in the quest to link our lands. The year this carriage was built, 1912, was the year passenger traffic had reached a peak. Over 1.5 billion journeys being made for business and holidays. And what's more, even if you'd only paid for a third-class ticket, you'd be sitting in a compartment more luxurious than anything you've experienced before. The humble coach had changed from little more than a cattle wagon with seats to something more like we'd recognize today. And this week's coach was one of the best. But its glory days are a distant memory. Built in 1912 by Nigel Gresley, one of the railway's most famous engineers, who would go on to design the Flying Scotsman, this carriage was once one of the most innovative of the era. It's known by the rather technical name brake composite. More about that later. And this is the team taking on the challenge of restoring her. The driving force is Peter Lund, chairman of Llangollen Steam Railway, and owner of the coach itself.
You know, I'm retired. I could spend my life playing golf, but I spend my life down here doing this. But it's an awful big thing to get personally involved with, and it does take over your life.
He'll be backed up by the Llangollen Railways team. 12 engineers, apprentices and volunteers with over 100 years' experience between them.
Going down.
Martin Perry started as an apprentice at the railway over 10 years ago.
When you're restoring coaches, one of them jobs which is annoying but rewarding all at the same time. Especially when you're on the roof and you turn around and you realise you've got to do all that.
Richard Smith is an experienced joiner, but this is his first train restoration.
I've never done a carriage restoration before. I'm feeling, looking at it, it's very daunting.
Normally it'd take them 2 years to restore a carriage, but our time train deadline is a daunting 6 months away. Hello, Peter.
Good morning, Peter. Welcome to Llangollen.
So this is it?
This is it. This is the 1912 Great Northern Brake Composite Carriage.
Where on earth did you find it?
Well, came from the Severn Valley Railway. They said, if you want it, give us £10 and take it away.
10 quid for
Which
this?
we did.
I mean, you know, it doesn't look great, but it just...
No, it certainly doesn't look great.
God, blimey. Right, well, let's go inside and have a look.
Fine.
Very exciting. Wow, it's quite a big area, isn't it?
This was what was originally the first-class compartments.
Oh, yes. What are you going to do with it now?
We're going to have it as an open saloon area. There'll be loose tables and chairs and a very plush carpet.
Loose tables and chairs?
Yes.
So rather plush?
Yes.
Luxury
We've
apartment?
still got to try and maintain the first-class bit.
But pretty scruffy, Peter. Got a lot of work to do.
Very scruffy, I'm afraid. It's been neglected for a very long time. Probably 40, 50 years.
Let's go and have a look back here. Can we?
Right.
Yeah. What's all this?
This is the guards department.
Oh, I see.
And the first-class lavatory. That's the handbrake, which the guard would operate.
Blimey, you have to spin it round?
Yeah, it's a spinning
Purely by hand?
Purely by hand.
And that's only when the train is stationary you use that, is it?
Yes, and it only affects this coach.
So how do you stop the train?
To stop the train, with this lever here, the guard can lift that in an emergency and the train will stop.
I
As
see.
it destroys the vacuum in the pipe.
Our carriage is called a brake composite because it has both a guard's compartment with brake controls for the whole train and both first and third class compartments. The composite carriage allowed railway companies to provide multi-class accommodation in one carriage and so reduce costs. By this time, second class had been mostly edged out by railway companies who wanted to keep first and third class as distinct as possible, separating the lords and ladies returning from the London season from the factory workers set for the seaside. So where are we going now?
This is the third class area.
Now, this is a corridor, isn't it, Peter? Is this a new development in 1912?
Relatively new. They were introduced about 1890. This enabled passengers to get to the lavatory and also to get to the buffet car.
This is the kind of thing I can remember travelling in the industry as a kid. I mean, and there were pictures on the walls and mirrors and...
That's right. You can see here where the picture was, and that's Truro Cathedral. The one over there is Harrogate, and in the middle there'd be an oval mirror.
And all that is going to be recreated. To make the carriage accessible, the first-class compartments will be replaced by a wheelchair-friendly first-class saloon with plush carpets and upholstered armchairs in red. But the third-class compartments will be restored as they were, less comfy than first class, but with upholstered purple seating and polished teak panels. Well, let's go look at the far end then.
Right,
down
let's
the
go.
corridor. Yep.
This is the end where the gangway was.
Oh my goodness, I remember as a kid walking from carriage to carriage, the whole thing shaking around. I was scared stiff. Now, what have we got here? Is this the toilet?
This is the toilet, yes.
This one is the third class, the other one up there is first class, isn't it?
That's right.
Is this much sort of scruffier than the other one?
It's not as well appointed. Let's put it like that.
I'm looking forward to seeing it finished, Peter, but I think I might myself use the first class one when I come to use it. Is that right?
Oh, both be very good, Peter.
The trolley may be the smallest and tightest room on the coach, but going to the loo on the railways has always been a big problem, both for the passengers and the railway companies themselves, as Henry Cole has been finding out.
Now, in Victorian times, spending a penny was costing the rail companies a pretty penny. Originally, there were no toilets on board the carriages. Everyone was crammed into these compartments with no ability to move around the train. Even in the late 19th century, toilets were a rarity, meaning special refreshment stops were required every couple of hours.
Can you imagine 300 people getting off the train to use half a dozen loos within 10 minutes? But where there's a will, there's a way. Now, the Times was filled with classified adverts for very strange things. Like, for instance, Walter's celebrated railway convenience. Now, that, I think, was a balloon that you strapped to your leg so you could relieve yourself discreetly. For the people who didn't want to be discreet, however, you could stand up, open the window and, well, you get the idea. But women had a different solution. They would carry a hat box. But there wasn't a hat in it, oh no. There was something much more flowery. And that was a chamber pot.
Today you can thank this chap for the fact that you can pop to the loo at 90 miles an hour.
His name was Edmund Helsinger von Weldegg, and he was the saviour of anyone who got caught short on the lines. Because it was him who came up with the corridor coach, this neat little passage that ran alongside the compartments to allow the passengers to go to the loo at the end.
This simple idea sped up the entire railway system, as trains no longer had to stop for those so-called refreshments.
There is one downside to this new convenience. Even today, some coaches still flush directly onto the track. Ugh.
But before we can restore our toilets, there's a little bit of work to do on what's underneath. Our Grizzly runs on bogies, its 8 wheels attached to frames, which are then attached to the coach body by a single pivot called the central casting. It's been at least half a century since anyone has checked them out. And there's 20 tons of coach sitting on them. So the first task we have is to jack up the coach on this massive jack here and see what these bogies are looking like. Carriage fitter Martin Perry is here to show me how to do it. Is he going to wreck the whole system?
It could do.
Oh my God, stand by, here we go.
Here we go.
Hold your hats, everybody.
If you keep your foot fresh, we'll go all the way up, yeah. We've got the lads on the outside keeping an eye on the jacks and making sure everything's safe.
And it's all holding together.
Yes.
Okay, let's go and look at it, shall we?
Yep.
Whew, it was hard work. First time I pushed 6 tons along. Anyway, now she's totally exposed here. Everything is easy to look at, and they can check all the nuts and bolts and everything and make sure she's ready for action. Fingers crossed. While the bogies are being checked, the team get on with stripping out rotten wood and sanding down the panels. But being almost solid teak, the good news is that the main body is doing pretty well for 100 years plus. The bad news is that the huge cast-iron bearings that attach the bogies to the coach are troubling Chief Coach Engineer John Davis.
Unfortunately, when we remove the bogies from the vehicle, the actual casting on the coach is cracked, as you can see from these two here. These castings get damaged when there's a shunting movement going on, and they will need repairing. Could have done without it, yeah, definitely.
With the team unable to move the carriage indoors until the problems on the castings are fixed, it's holding up restoration on the main body of the coach. It's a serious setback so early on in the process. I'm in Llangollen, Wales. By the 1860s, the railways had led to a boom in tourism, opening up previously remote places like Llangollen here to visitors from across the country. Today, Llangollen continues to draw thousands of tourists, no longer as part of the UK rail network, but as a heritage line, manned by an army of engineers and volunteers. And here behind the worksheds, we're now 1 month into the restoration of our 1912 Gresley brake composite carriage. She's been lifted off her bogies, as you can see, and the team are now very hard at work, pulling out the old rotten wood and stripping down the old paint and varnish. I love to see the passion and dedication these guys put in. This is an ambitious project. There's 3 third-class compartments to restore, plus a first-class saloon, a brake compartment and 2 onboard loos, so the team need to get cracking. But they've been held back by bigger issues, beneath the coach body itself. There are suspicions that the central casting that attaches the bogies to the coach may have microscopic cracks, and the team have called in an expert to test them. Half the weight of the carriage rests on this casting, which means it's a critical component. But cracks can be seen by the simple use of a magnet and a white paint containing iron filings.
What we have here is a little flaw there, that black line, which has been revealed by the magnet. That will be in need of repair, because that could potentially create chaos, a catastrophic accident. We've got a crack here, up there, and in through the central bore of the boss.
Though these are hairline cracks, the risks, if they spread, are too great to ignore. To fix the castings, the team will need to send them to specialists in Derbyshire. While they're waiting, they get to work on the wooden body of the coach. To preserve the historic character of the carriage, this team are restoring the old teak panels, meaning imperfections dating from its use during the World Wars will be retained. But some sections are beyond repair, so alternatives have to be found. Now, Peter, here's a teak panel. It's got a crack in it. What on earth are you going to do with that?
Well, we're going to have to glue them back together.
Where'd you get this from?
This teak panel came from Scotland, where we managed to retrieve some. In England, they used to cut the coaches in half and set fire to them, basically.
Yes.
In Scotland, they sold them to the farmers. We used them as hen houses and sheep houses, and we went round them in the 1990s, retrieving what parts we could.
What would that cost if you were to buy some?
I've been quoted £50 a square foot.
What?
But having said that, it's unobtainable because it's a protected species.
In the 1860s, nearly all the teak used on the railways was from the ancient forests of what was then British Burma. Almost all of those great trees were cut down long ago. Teak is now one of the world's most endangered species of wood. As a result, sustainably produced teak is incredibly expensive. So rescuing vintage teak panels like this is the team's best option. Right, let's do the gluing then.
Right. What we're going to do next is glue these 2 pieces back together to form one panel using this special expanding glue.
Right.
Which we just lay in across here. Just pop that in there.
Yep.
It's important to get the grain in line, so we'll just juggle it till we're there. Then we have to put the weight on.
Yes.
And after 24 hours, it's dry. And you see where the line of glue is, because it's expanded. And then we varnish it, and it comes up like that.
And nothing will break that joint?
Well, I wouldn't say nothing, but...
OK, well done. Excellent.
It's as strong as it was originally.
Extraordinary. How many panels have you got to make?
We've got about 30 panels to do, but some of them are 19 feet long.
You've got a big job to do, mate. The outside might look traditional, but the inside of this carriage is beginning to look like something many of us would recognise. By 1912, most carriages had something we take for granted today, a communication cord for use in an emergency, and this carriage is no exception. Henry's been discovering how and why it was invented.
In the 19th century, passengers began to clamour for a way to communicate with the driver after a grisly murder of a passenger in first class. As a result, the communication cord was born. This was one of the early ones.
To call the attention of the guard and driver, passengers must pull down the cord, which will be found outside the carriage, close to the cornice. I'd better open the window then. A short, sharp yank on the cord would ring a bell in the guard's van to alert the guard of any imminent danger. Perhaps not the most practical system.
By the time our carriage was built, it had become more sophisticated.
The communication cord is attached to this valve. This valve opens, it doesn't ring a bell, it actually applies the brakes to the entire train. Hence, for improper use, there was a huge fine. And the guard will get you. Why? Because it also operates this little flag which tells them which carriage pulled the cord.
Back at the shed, there's good news. The repaired castings have been returned.
What we got here is our centre casting, which is come back from the welders, and it's been machined, so it's fit, ready for popping underneath our coach. With having the castings being sent off, we've actually lost time with the coach being outside. It's a big relief to see these back. There we are, done. The coach is all back down on its wheels now, so we'll be able to take it back inside and start on the roof. I think we'll make up time now. Once it's inside the workshop, we'll catch up. Oh, we've got to sound confident, haven't we? Yeah, we'll get it done.
After 2 months of stalled progress, the team are desperate to get the carriage under cover and take a look at the roof. But when Richard gets up there, he finds some bad news.
What I've discovered as I've taken the canvas off the roof, some of the boards here that have lower down on the roof has got saturated with water, and over time it's just completely broken down the timber, and so I can stick my fingers straight into it and it's just all crumbling. So that'll all need to be replaced eventually. It can be fixed. It might have to be cut away. I'm not sure whether we'll have to lift the roof. Hopefully not, because that's an incredibly big job. But hopefully we can cut away the bit that's rotten and just slide it in, slide the new piece in.
The carriage is over 60 feet long, and roughly a fifth of the roof is damaged.
We couldn't have really anticipated that this rail would have been rotten as much as it has. We've got such a tight time scale, we've got to really be careful on how long things take us. Time's very much against us on this project, so.
We're doing this for a limited budget in a finite time, and we're almost halfway through it, and we're not halfway through the restoration. So there's going to be a lot of midnight oil burnt before this coach is finished.
We're midway through this stage of my exciting time train project. Bringing back to life the first of our 4 iconic carriages, including a 4-wheeler from the 1860s. a royal carriage from 1887, and a Pullman dining car from the 1960s. When all the carriages are finished, they'll travel from different corners of the country to be joined together as our time train. 100 years of railway history, driven by me. This first restoration is a teak beauty, designed in 1912 by Nigel Gresley, one of the greatest railway engineers, who went on to design the most famous steam locomotive in the world, the Flying Scotsman. But this restoration has been beset by problem after problem. Last time we saw the team, they discovered large sections of the roof were rotten. Now the planks have been replaced, the pressure is on to make it watertight.
Today is a big day. We've started canvassing the roof, which is putting down the bedding compound and then pulling the canvas along the top and to try and straighten out all the creases.
Come on, out you come. This has got to be one of the worst jobs you can do on the roof. So this is like a sealer. If you don't get this right, water will get into the roof, which will ruin all the work.
The roof needs to be done as quickly as possible before the compound dries off. And it is a 2 or 3 man job.
Seems a lot of hard work just to be covered up again, but it all needed to be done. Not the nicest smell in the world.
You'll be dreaming of yellow ochre in your sleep tonight.
Better not go too far that way and then we fell off the roof again. I need a resupply.
I think we're going to need another load of tins, you know. I don't think we're going to have enough. Hey?
You need some more?
Yeah. Like emergency, I need it. Took us 8 to do the rail mirror.
I've got 8. I've come to the conclusion that nothing's straightforward on this carriage. You think it's a straightforward job, but very often it isn't.
With the bedding compound running out, the team try to thin down what they have left. Finally, the roof is covered, and the last of the canvas is being smoothed out. 2.5 days after they started, the job is done. It's 4 months into our 6-month schedule. I want to see if the coach is going to make it onto the tracks, ready for our time train. Oh, is she coming on, Peter?
Yes, we've had quite a bit done since you last were here. And the corridor connections are on, the roof's on.
Now, how would you describe the problems you've had in the last few weeks?
Gargantuan. There's no other description for it. Everything that could go wrong with this coach has gone wrong with it. We had the first problems with the bogie castings, which we found were cracked, which we didn't expect. There was far more rotten wood on the roof than we ever anticipated.
Do you ever ask yourself why you bother to do this?
I do every day.
Well, why do you bother?
Well, the heritage of this carriage is astounding. You know, it's 105 years old. It's taken people to 2 world wars. It's taken people to holidays all over the country.
Amazing. You're bringing tears to my eyes.
I am.
Anyway, are you going to finish it, Peter?
We are going to finish it. We undoubtedly have to finish it. We're working
so.
7 days a week. It's going to be 15 hours a day, I should think. But I've got quite a good team, so we're going to crack on with it.
You certainly have a good team.
It will be a magnificent achievement when it's done.
Let's have a look inside. Okay. Oh, Peter, you've got a lot of work to do here.
We have got a lot of work to do here.
This looks terrible.
It does, but it will look better. We've got to finish off the ceilings. The wiring needs to be done down the centre. There's seats to go in here and panelling to go up there. There's the glazing to do. We're not that far away, really. I know it looks a mess.
This is a first-class saloon. It's going to be open with lots of easy chairs.
Lots of easy chairs, occasional table to put your drinks on.
Oh, it'd be lovely. Now, Peter, please tell me the third class is not as bad as this.
Peter, it's nothing like as bad as this. Why don't you come and have a look? Here we are. This is compartment 3.
Yes.
It's almost done, as you can see. The seats are there.
Almost done sounds to me a slight exaggeration, if I may say so. Look at the roof.
Oh, the ceiling won't take 5 minutes.
What?
Come
on.
Ceilings are fairly simple to whack up.
I wish you luck, that's all I can say.
Thank you.
One reason the interior is taking so long is because this carriage was fitted with electric lights, which was still a novelty in 1912. And Henry has been exploring why it took so long for the humble light bulb to make it onto the main line.
Back in 1912, the idea of lighting a whole train with electricity was proving slightly problematic. If you were reading a book like this on the railway, it was either by gaslight or this newfangled electric torch.
The big problem with using electricity on trains is the fact that you can't just plug them into the mains. You have to generate the electricity on the move. Built in 1895, the London, Tilbury and Southend Railway fitted this system, which cracked the problem.
Just like my torch, the lights in the carriage are powered by all these batteries, which in turn run off this, and this is the clever bit. This is a dynamo. Now, the dynamo here is in turn fed by this belt that runs off the wheel of the carriage. Simple, but electricity took a long time to take over.
It wasn't until the 1930s that most carriages had electric lighting, meaning our 1912 Gresley carriage was in the vanguard.
It all means the end is in sight, so I'd better crack on with my own preparations. Once all 4 of our carriages are restored, we'll put them together for one very special journey, creating a unique time train. 100 years of railway history, pulled by a locomotive driven by me. Being a loco driver was a highly prized position in the 19th century. The training took decades. Boys would start at around 14 years old. The first job was just cleaning the locomotives. Reminds me of my days in the army. It was the cleaner's job to get locomotives ready for service each morning, but the firelighters would build and light the fire itself to get her warmed up and in steam.
Little and often is the approach.
Malcolm is my instructor, making sure I do everything in exactly the right way.
So what we're doing now is we're just laying a thin layer of coal in.
Yep.
Then we're going to put some wood in, set light to the wood, and that burning wood will eventually set light to the coal.
Here we go. Right up the front of the firebox. There she goes. Now comes the exciting bit. I light up the cloth covered in paraffin. That is going to light the fire inside the firebox. Here we go. There she goes. Yes. Beautiful flame. Here she goes. Yes. Even when warm, a little engine like this can take up to 3 hours or more to get up to full steam. So the cleaners and the fire lighters would have to get up very early in the morning indeed. Now Fireman Nigel is showing me another part of the early morning routine. Nigel, is it hot enough in there?
Yes, should be hot enough.
Here we go, here we go. This is how you got your breakfast in the old days of scheme. Just a couple of eggs on the shovel and Bob's your uncle.
Should take a minute or two, no more than that.
Here it comes, there we are, a couple of nice eggs. Well, 1.5 eggs anyway. After 3 or 4 years, a keen lad would graduate to the role of fireman. That'll be my next lesson. Firemen would work for decades before getting a promotion. Few would make it to the coveted position of engine driver before their mid-30s or even 40s. I've got a lot to learn before I can be the driver of our time train. Back at Llangollen, the team are turning their attention to the finer details. But the to-do list reveals there's still some way to go on the interior. And fitting the furniture is throwing up its own set of challenges.
There we are. That's for when the train goes around the corner.
Yeah, it's, you know, HS2 and all that. You know, there we go.
That's the first seating.
It's been a long journey for the team. But Chief Peter Lund is hopeful they may be turning a corner.
Well, it's going a lot better than I thought it was earlier. Most of the mechanics are done. There's still a lot to do in the compartments. In these projects, it's always the little things at the end that take the time. I don't want to get confident. I think we'll get there, but the number of things that have gone wrong so far with this carriage, some other things could go wrong quite easily. So we'll just take one day at a time. Once you get carpets and tables and chairs and things like that, and a glass of bubbly on the table, everything will be wonderful.
The final day has arrived. 6 months ago, this coach was little more than a skip on wheels. Thanks to the dedication of the team, it's been transformed. Now I'm coming to see it for the final visit before it joins our time train. Hi, Peter.
Morning, Peter.
Your big moment has come.
The moment has arrived.
Are you all ready?
We are all ready for you.
Is the coach all ready? That's what
Coach
matters.
is ready.
I hope so. It's going to be a very exciting moment. I can't wait.
I'm just going to couple up now, and then we'll draw it out, and you'll be able to see her in all its glory. You were very doubtful last time I saw you.
I was extremely doubtful, quite frankly, and I should be surprised if she's really finished. I'm going to be surprised, am I?
You are going to be surprised, I promise.
All right, OK. In the past 6 months, this carriage has had its castings repaired, 30 teak panels restored, the roof part replaced and recanvassed, and the interior completely refurnished. There we go. Oh, that's useful. That's very lucky. Peter, it's a miracle. I saw her 6 months ago. She was a wreck.
Yes, it was.
Beautiful varnish. What a wonderful sight. Carrying the name of her designer's famous logo, the original teak panels have been polished to reveal the deep beauty of the wood. And in restoring the original panels, this team has kept the long history of the carriage alive. Interesting, all this wonderful old sort of mottled area here. What's that mean, all these marks? Here?
Well, these are the original panels, probably from 1912 when the carriage was built. The black marks are where they did temporary repairs during the war and afterwards, subsequently rusted and stained the wood.
Where the teak panels were beyond rescue, the team used wood salvaged from carriages abandoned all across the Scottish Highlands. They used genuine antique wood rather than settling for modern substitutes. She's a genuine antique, then. This is really what she looked like.
Yes.
You're proud of yourself,
I'm
Peter.
very proud of it.
And the team?
The team are fantastic.
Great work, great work. Inside, the panelled corridor has been restored to its full glory. Wow, Peter, this is a transformation. Wonderful. Authentic details such as the leather straps on the windows have been lovingly crafted. And period lighting has been painstakingly sourced from across the country by Peter Lund. First class?
This is the first-class saloon.
Very nice indeed. And you've got beautiful old lights here.
Yes.
And the wood looks magnificent.
The framing's all teak, like the outside, but the panels are light oak.
And rather nice straps here, the beautiful little straps on the windows.
It's a very primitive way of opening windows in 1912. You open that, and down that comes.
Well, I can remember that.
And that's it.
Mind you, I wasn't born in 1912, but beautiful. It looks so
1912.
authentic. It looks so genuine. Into the compartment. Oh, my goodness me, Peter, it takes me back to my childhood. All I need now is a Beano comic and a Mars bar or something, and all the pictures and the mirrors. Lovely. Paintings have been meticulously sourced to match the original pictures and set in Victorian frames.
This is the architecture compartment. There we've got Runcorn Bridge and the bridge at Conway, Ribblehead Viaduct and St Pancras Station.
What a lovely lot of pictures. And there's mirrors, too.
Yeah.
And the seats beautifully upholstered, even though it's only third class. Nice luggage racks. It's been transformed since I saw it. Would you say you were proud of all this? You
Oh,
must be.
absolutely. I think it's fantastic. I mean, this is what I wanted to do with it for the 20 years.
Nice. Very nice. The carriage is taken off to be coupled up to a steam locomotive. And I'm heading to Berwyn Station to meet it and the key members of the team for its first test run. And here she is. Isn't that a really beautiful sight? She looks absolutely gorgeous in the sunlight.
Peter, how are you?
See ya. Great.
Come aboard, come on.
My dear Henry, what do you think of her?
Mate, she's fantastic.
Isn't she beautiful?
And it's not just me, everyone's
Here
here.
are all the lads. Hello, Martin. Hello, Peter. Hello, Richard. So, Peter, how's she riding, do you think?
She's riding absolutely wonderfully. Rides better than a modern carriage.
Richard, are you happy with your work?
Yes, for the first restoration I've done, it's I'm pretty pleased with how it's
First
gone.
one you've
Yeah,
done.
First
Well, you
restoration.
should be proud of me. What about you, Martin?
Extremely proud of it, yeah. Really, from the ground up, really excited about this one. Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
You know, you're approaching middle age now.
That's very kind of you.
Wouldn't you be rather retired and playing golf and fooling around like this?
Absolutely not. I'd rather be here any day. Look at the scenery behind you.
It's a staggering scene, isn't it? Now, how do we know she's not going to sort of... Oh,
Hang on, wait a second. Tunnel tip. Actually, I love the lighting in the tunnel. Don't you?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Perfect ambiance.
Yeah, this is a period situation.
This lighting is pretty much authentic, as it was.
Really?
Yeah.
So, oh, here we come out
Here
of
we
the tunnel
go.
again. And there's that marvellous view again. It's a sensational railway, it really is.
Would you do it again?
Yes, yeah, definitely I'll do it again, yeah. It's keeping the history of what British Railways were, and it's something I'm very passionate about. Everybody always says to me how lucky I am to do something that I enjoy doing. And I do count myself very lucky.
Good. And your satisfaction sitting here today in this
Yeah,
carriage?
yeah, of course, a great deal of satisfaction.
Without you young guys coming through,
Exactly, yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
we'd be lost.
Younger people like me and Martin, you know, it's down to us to keep this kind of thing alive.
When you see, like yourselves, how happy you are with the actual finished product, this is what heritage is all about. It's all about getting something, making it as it was, and showing it off so everyone in the future can actually enjoy it.
People have said to Peter that to restore this coach in 6 months is impossible, but you've proved otherwise.
We have proved otherwise, but it's with enormous cost, not just in money, in stress. I mean, halfway through, I was thinking, how can I get out of this?
But you have to have those moments in restoration.
Yeah, you
Otherwise,
do.
you don't get the satisfaction at the end. And you've created something for future generations to enjoy.
Exactly.
How good does it get?
For me, this gorgeous Grizzly coach represents the real railway's last hurrah. It was built at a time when railway companies thought of carriages not just as vehicles for making money, but as the stuff of dreams. Next time, we're off on holiday, heading to the Isle of Wight to restore this tiny carriage from the 1860s, the very dawn of the railway age. Oh, my goodness, we can't be serious.
So,
Her restoration involves some beautiful craftsmanship.
All the shapes and whatever that were in the original, like sort of glass, we copied over.
And you did all these buttons and everything yourself?
that's right, yes.
And her past tells the story of why passengers first flocked to this island's railways.
For seaside holidays and buckets and spades.